Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
And welcome to Heal My Marriage Podcast.
Do you still remember the name of the title?
Yes, I do. I am your host, Tara.
And I'm Pedro.
And we are back again with another episode. Even though we haven't been back for a long time, but we are back again. And we're going to be talking about communication.
We all need a summer vacation.
That's right. So we're going to be talking about communication.
And I'm doing today injured.
Yes. Well, I got to keep saying it, and then you interrupted me. Like I said, we're going to be doing an episode on communication. This is going to be season 4, episode 18 for us.
Oh, you actually wrote it down?
Yes. And we're going to be talking about how we communicate. We have talked about this before on our podcast. That's when we first started. And we've been at this for a while now. And we want to talk about how we communicate now versus how we used to communicate then.
Wait, question. Do you remember how we communicated then? Because I didn't look at the podcast. Did you?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't look at it. Yes. I'll be honest.
I actually try to go back and listen to our podcasts. That we do.
I'm just bad.
But I think we definitely communicate totally different now than we did.
You think? I know.
Than we did before. Mm-hmm. I think it's more just growing and learning each other even more each day. And, just knowing what to do, what to say, and just basically knowing your partner. You know what I mean?
I'll never know my partner.
I mean, I'm saying knowing your partner enough to know what to communicate and what to say and what not to say, and what will push buttons and what, and things like that. You kind of know how to not let things get too out of the control versus how we used to do before. I don't think we had any type of pushback at all. We just kind of just went in. And I think now it's a totally different.
Right, well, we get into that because you're like already jumping right into it.
No, I'm just saying I think it was just a totally different
situation
versus now, like I said.
We got to take care of some other things first before we jump into it.
Like what?
Just say, it's been a minute. So we want to apologize to our listeners that have been listening. We have heard from a couple of listeners and said, where you at? Why are you not doing a podcast? So we do apologize.
Yeah.
Just been a crazy summer from broken hands to broken feet to just busy.
Just life. Just
every
life.
Day, every technical problems. We tried to do a couple of times and StreamYard updated, so it kind of messed up. We was trying to get the system back up and running again.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not even using the proper camera that we have because the camera doesn't want to seem to work today.
Right.
So it's been just,
one of those things.
Yeah, one of those things where it's just every now and then, we have been trying.
Yeah.
We had a couple of times where we set up and everything and it just didn't happen.
It just didn't roll.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay because we're here now.
Yeah, I know. But I just want to let our listeners know so they don't wonder why, So I just
and we have missed you guys. We really have. I have been thinking about different topics that I have written down and that I want to discuss as time go on. So we really hoping to be consistent with our podcasting.
Yeah, we're not going to say we will be back next week.
Right. I want to make no promises.
I think last time we said that, we'll be back next week. And then it's been a whole summer.
So, but yeah, hope you guys are ready for this.
You lost your train of thought.
Yeah, I hope you guys are ready for this one. It's just good to know that people are listening to what we are doing. And it's just basically encouraging ourselves and encouraging other people. Because everybody experiences marriages in different ways.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So let's pray and then we get right into it.
All right, let's go.
All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us to another podcast. It's been a while, but we thank you, Lord, that you have made it so far throughout this year. And as we're going to the end of the year, we ask, Lord, that you'll be with us in everything we do. As we do this podcast now, allow us to heal ourselves and heal somebody else's marriage. Hopefully what we say will allow somebody to have an understanding of communication as it does. It also helps us, and that we may be able to encourage somebody as it encourages us each and every day. For this, I pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. All right.
So communication. We're going to talk about that. We I think I brought this up because I said one day to you, I said, we did that first thing, communication. We're totally different than how we were 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Definitely 15 years ago.
Yeah,
but even definitely 5 years ago. It's just because of so many different ways of communication, and we definitely communicate in such a different way. Body language, nonverbal, eye contact, hand gestures. We just
facial expressions.
And I think maybe because we're about to hit 20 in a couple of weeks. October 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
I do know my date. And I was thinking like we can communicate, but just we don't even need to look at each other. We almost can kind of know what we are thinking without even like nothing. Just I'll just come to you and say, "Hey, I'm ready to go." And
Right.
you'd be like, "I was thinking the same thing." Like we just communicate, like
With our
ESP.
eyes.
We're not even I'm saying not even with our eyes. We just know, like if we're at an event, we just kind of know it's time to go. We don't even need to come to say, "Hey, you ready to go?" I could just come to and say, like we was at an event the other day and I came and I was like, "We're ready to go." You was like, "I'm ready to go too." And you got up and you walked out. Like I didn't have to say, "Are you ready to go?" See the difference?
Yeah.
I didn't say, "Are you ready?" I said, "We're ready."
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "I'm ready to." Like we just know.
Linked up.
We're just linked. We just know that it's
Mm-hmm.
time to go.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much we just want to do a definition real quick. And definition is communication is a process of exchanging information, ideas, thoughts, or feelings between individuals or groups.
Mm-hmm.
It involves verbal, nonverbal signals, spoken or written words, gesture, body language, facial expressions to convey messages.
Mm-hmm.
To effectively communicate requires both a sender who encodes and transmits the message, a receiver who decodes and interprets it.
Mm-hmm.
The goal of communication is to achieve mutual understanding, build relationships, and facilitate collaboration.
Mm.
So, yeah.
They're just a general
That's just a general,
communication. Yeah.
like I just looked up the definition. But
I did look up something.
There are 10 different,
Yeah.
well, as one of my co-hosts on Talking Point says, one of my bestie has 10 different definitions of communication, different types of communication. That's what Angela says. She calls it her bestie. She'd be like, I went to my bestie. We're like, your bestie? She's like, AI. And I'm like, what?
So I did look up something about communication in marriage per se. So it says communication in marriage is all about how partners express their thoughts, feelings, and needs to each other. It involves not only talking about, also listening actively and understanding each other's perspectives. Good communication in marriage helps build trust, intimacy, and strong connection between partners. It allows couples to resolve conflict effectively, express appreciation, and support each other emotionally. Open and honest communication is the key to a healthy and successful marriage. And I would say, for me, learning about communication in a relationship I have came a long way, because before I had a hard time expressing myself and how I felt about different situations that we may have went through in our marriage. Um, coming like just being honest with myself first, and also coming to Pedro saying, "Look, this is how I feel," and being honest about how I feel, instead of walking around and be like, "Oh, I'm not sure," or not just wanting to express myself because thinking that it's going to get shut down, or just thinking like,
Or
it don't matter.
Or thinking I knew how you felt.
Right.
Like you supposed to, like you had a habit of, you thought I was supposed to know how you felt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was supposed to respond to that. And I'm like, I don't know how you feel unless you tell me.
Well, I think for me, trying to express myself was hard to you. Because sometimes I felt like maybe you didn't get what I was feeling at the time. Especially how I used to be in the past.
Well, you thought I had no empathy towards you?
Yeah, I did. I thought that, if I express myself, it's like, oh, okay. And I'm like,
I
that's
just
it.
discounted it. Yeah.
Right. Like, that's all you're gonna say. You're not gonna even show any type of emotion. You just gonna just be like, oh, okay, like it's just next part. That's what it felt like back then. But now I would say, if we talking about something, you more attentive, you more looking at me. I can tell that you're actually listening and you taking it in. Before, I used to be like, you going one in out the other. But now I think we more in tune in the fact of, okay, because we care more. Not that we didn't care before. I think before it was just like we was in our own thoughts.
It's funny that you said that, because somebody put up the other day, like what's a thing to marriage, to make a marriage work. And of course everybody put communication, and I put communication is the first thing. But I think empathy is is like one of the is 1A.
Right.
To
having compassion.
Because with I think when you communicate, you have to you have to show some kind of understanding of what the person's going through, because you could communicate to me all day long, but if I'm not understanding what you're communicating, it's not going to resonate with me. It's not going to make a difference to me. I'm just going to display it or discount it, or say, you just complaining, you just whining, you just, so the communication comes with when you say something to me, me as your husband, taking it in, thinking about it, trying to understand it. And if I don't understand it, ask you to explain it.
Right.
And then comes the resolve of, okay, I did this, or I hurt you this way, or I didn't hurt you that way, or I did this to you, I didn't do this. Like, then I'm able to comprehend what I did. Because if I just have, like you said, if I just discount it, you could talk to you blue in the face. It's not going to be any kind of communication, because I'm not receiving it. So you have, as a communicator, like I said, you have to receive in the definition. You have to, it's two people. It's one person as sending out the information, but then you also have to receive it and comprehend it.
Right. Because I had to learn, if I don't tell you how I feel, like truly express myself, then I can't expect for you to then understand what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? Because if I'm coming to you with something and I'm only telling you half a part of what I may want to tell you, but not everything, it ain't no way you're going to be able to connect with that and give me the response that I'm looking for from you if I'm not telling you everything.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? If I'm holding back. And I think before, holding back was really a big deal for me, because I'm thinking, if I tell you everything, you're going to probably blow up, or it's going to turn into an argument, or something's going to happen where, you know what I'm saying, we ain't listening. Our active listening is totally off.
Yeah, but then what happened was, then even for myself, if I didn't communicate, then we would not, it would blow up. It would be worse, because then we're getting mad because we don't think the other person is listening. So it's better to communicate so that you don't have those blow ups, because then it's like, oh, you don't care what I think. You don't respect what I'm feeling.
And you know what it was too? I think making time to listen and not acting like you're too busy. Like, okay, say what you got to say and be done. You know what I'm saying? Then, what
put
do
your
you
phone
mean?
down.
You're not even taking. I'm talking about how we used to be in before.
I'm talking about before.
But I'm just saying. But before, I don't think the phone was the issue. I think I'm saying in the verses,
it was an issue, because if I was communicating and you're on your phone, you're not listening to me. So I would say, can you please put your phone? So I'll communicate. Can you please put your phone down and listen to what I'm about to say? That's one thing right off the bat with communication. Sometimes you have to be very deliberate in what you're communicating. So if I want to make sure you hear me, I will be.
I hear your point. Maybe you tell me that now, yes. But before, in the past, it wasn't like that.
I know. I'm saying now. I'm talking about communicating now.
Yeah.
Because in the past, I would just talk to you while you was on your phone that you wouldn't hear. And I'm like, you're not paying me no attention. You're not. So I will blame you. But I could fix that by saying to you, look, put your phone down and listen to what I'm about to say, and then communicate what I need. That way there's no miscommunication or misunderstanding of what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. In the past, yeah, because like right now it's football, American football. And for what, if I'm watching American football, you actually did it to me. You came downstairs trying to talk to me, and I'm looking at you like I'm watching.
No, what had happened was our youngest daughter, wanted to do her homework over the weekend. Just went, and she was like, "Oh, Mom, I'm gonna go downstairs and do my homework on the table."
Her homework downstairs.
Okay, so this is the situation. So I was like, "Okay, no problem." No, she said, "I want to go sit at Daddy's desk." I said, "Okay, you can go sit at Daddy's desk and do your homework, right?" So I totally forgot that you have.
And I already told you all,
football.
Because you forget, because we communicated. I communicated this. Because early in the week, you was like, oh, we need to have family time on Sunday. I said, Sunday's a lie. We ain't doing no Sunday family. We do family time in the daytime, in the morning time. But because we're in the UK, when 6 o'clock hits, Daddy watching football.
Right.
Okay. First game, Giants, even though they lost and I was a little irritated. Still, Daddy watching football. Okay. So I had already communicated this to you, so you knew this.
Either way, I didn't communicate this to the kids. So either way, so this is the situation. So Kaya wanted to come downstairs and do her homework on Daddy's desk. I said, okay, go ahead, sweetie. Go do it downstairs on Daddy's desk. And so Pedro, she come down and said, Dad, I'm doing my homework. And Pedro says to Kaya, I'm watching football. And so she stormed off and was like, Daddy act like football more important than me doing my homework. And I was like, and I came down and I'm like, Pedro, why did you do that to her? I was like, she wants to do homework. She motivated, and you like,
she get motivated on the living room table.
So she was really she was not happy.
She was like, Daddy and her's football. And then I think Sky came down. She said, Daddy watching football. Don't bother Daddy. Daddy what? That's right.
Yeah, so Pedro had came and said, you had said that Kaya had said, Daddy think football more important than me. And so I was like, oh gosh.
I don't think football is more important, but at the time it was important and I had already made that clear.
But she went upstairs and finished it on up.
Yeah,
but
whatever. But you didn't. Yeah, I communicated. You didn't follow through because you wasn't paying attention.
Well, to be honest, I was like, to be honest with you, even though you told me,
and you was like, why you do that?
I'm trying to communicate this to you right now. So even though you had told me about your football, I didn't care. I was like, I don't care nothing about his football. Ain't nothing more important than us. There's no doggone football.
You actually did do that because you was like, I don't care. We still need. I said, yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But when 6 o'clock hits, I'm stopping whatever we're doing. I don't care what you say.
Oh my god!
It's 18 weeks out the year. I give my other 52 from 82. 18 is what? I can't even think right now. But whatever. 36 or whatever it is, the amount, whatever the amount is, all those other weeks in the year that I can spend with the family. 18 weeks. It's okay. And at 6 o'clock, the kids are getting ready for bed anyway.
True.
They have a dinner.
Yeah.
About to take showers. I make sure the clothes and everything is ready for tomorrow. So it's not like I'm losing that much time with the kids.
Right. But I was going to ask you from before, was it always hard for you as a male?
Oh, it's definitely hard for me.
Let me finish the question, sir.
I didn't know the answer.
As you as a male, generally, and now, an married man, how was it? Was it always hard for you to express your feelings and to communicate them to who you was with?
Well, let me answer
be
this
open,
way.
And be open and honest.
As a male, it's hard to answer and it's hard to open up and think because I think, especially like I don't know how it's in the UK, but in the States, when a male expresses himself, you're considered soft. So you end up not expressing yourself. So from even before I was dating or even as a teenager, it was hard to express my feelings because when I opened up my feelings, it was you're soft, you're a punk, you're not a man. It was keep everything. You got to be hard. You got to be rough. You got to be tumble, and you got to be what's the word? You have to be just like hard all the time. You can't be soft.
So in other words, did you always feel just misunderstood then? Because you couldn't really express yourself?
No, I just felt mad all the time because I thought people
So in other words, you felt misunderstood.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I felt misunderstood, just maybe that's why I was mad. I don't think I felt misunderstood. I just felt more like you want to express yourself, but if you do, you know what the response is going to be.
So how is that for you now?
I don't care. I express myself.
You express yourself now.
Yeah.
And how has that been now versus from before? How expressing yourself now feel? Like you feel better just being able to just put it out there?
I think I feel better, but you also learn that you have to be careful how you express yourself.
In what sense?
So I was reading something the other day and it made a good point. So like I'm gonna give an example with the children. So because I do this and it hit hard when I read this. So you know how I am with Kaya. I mean with Sky, not Kaya, with Sky.
Right.
Because she's 14, she's in that want to wear these, shirts and things and show her belly button and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, oh, like why you? And I was reading and it said that, as we need me as a husband, me as a father, need to communicate better with our children. So instead of me, when she comes downstairs, instead of me like, what are you wearing? You can't wear it. Go back upstairs and change it. Just be like, hey, how you doing? How's your day going today? Like just communicating differently, not always being the hard, general, boastful like person. So communication is an evolving thing where you evolve as a communicator. And even with you, like, just instead of being, because I could be a little abrasive sometimes. I know I could be abrasive. I could be very to the point. And I'm not trying to not be that way. It's just it just comes out that way. So I have to mentally say to myself, okay, I need to be more
scale it back.
Yeah, scale it back, more politically correct. I don't even politically correct because that's the wrong word. Just more empathy. Just more say it in a nicer tone.
Yeah.
Because it definitely does make a difference if I do it that way. So like instead of saying, oh, just say, hey, how was your day? And then you can say it different. It's like, you really think that's a good shirt that you should be wearing like right now? Say it in a different way instead of so brash and hard. So I think over the years I've learned that communicating is definitely to communicate differently to you.
Right.
And to the kids.
Right.
Just in the way
I believe that because the way you
to
respond to someone is the way they're going to react towards you. So if you go in a loud or like, you really going to wear that, they're going to respond in the way that you just said. But like, they're going to feel defensive.
Yeah.
So the defensive
So now if
mode
you're
is
wearing
gonna
something
block
that I
up.
don't think you should be wearing, I'm gonna be like, well, you need to take that off. Like a wig or something. I wish you would wear a wig. I'd be like, chop it off.
I think it's important to communicate because it shows that you're trying to be honest. You want to be honest with what you're saying. You don't want to hold back what you're feeling. You want to be able to be transparent with your children and with your spouse. And I think that's very important because when you're not transparent with them, it's just not good. You know what I mean? Like, why dance around how you really feel? You know what I mean? Because if you just go ahead and put it out there, they can know where you're coming from.
Well, yeah, I mean, I always say the way we communicate is different. I don't know, some people, I haven't heard nobody really say this, but the way we communicate is we communicate better nonverbal. And what I mean by that, we communicate better not seeing each other.
Well, facial expressions and stuff like
well,
that.
yeah, it's not just you just can't handle my facial expressions.
Yeah, so that's why I just said that.
So I'm saying, but so we communicate better like over the phone. We thank God I have a job where I drive. So a lot of times we can hash out our difference over the phone. And by the time I get home, we're good.
Right. I think for me, if I get too irritated, I will hang up the phone and be like, you know what, I'm gonna just talk to you in a minute. You know what I mean?
I do that too all the time.
Right.
I'll be like, I'm gonna go. I'm not even.
But then on the other hand,
I need to go.
Right.
I'll talk to you later.
But then when I feel like I haven't gotten my point across, I would say, so you just gonna hang up the phone? You're not gonna even listen to my point?
And then you start texting me 10 different ways. And I
it's
told
another way of communication.
Whatever. When you get emotional like that, what did I tell you I do?
You don't even look at my messages, which I think is unfair because
no, it's not
saying
unfair.
A point.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Your point is emotional.
True.
I want you to be logical. I want you to be rational. I don't look at your messages because the moment I look at your messages is going to irritate me. Then I'm going to call you. Now we're arguing. So to keep the arguments down, to keep the disagreements down, I don't look at a word you type. I don't. I just, whatever. Because I already know why am I looking? Because you know what you're going to say in the text? I'm not respecting. I'm not listening. I'm trying to do my own thing. Why you not letting me get my point across?
Yeah.
And, it's all of that. I already know what you're saying. So why I need to read it? So I don't need to even look at it. I don't look at it. I just I act like I read it, like I click it, and then I just, because folks, it'd be like it don't be just one or two messages. It'd be a whole bunch. So I kind of scroll it up.
Yeah.
And then I close the WhatsApp and I go about my business. I don't even, because I just think that's the way of communicating. See, you have to learn when it's time to communicate and when it's time to be nonverbal and not communicate.
Yeah.
Because there is such a thing as not always communicating your thoughts.
And you know what? I sometimes think that's hard when you can't talk to each other and the breakdown in communication is just gone. And it's just like you both speak in different languages to each other. Nobody's agreeing. Nobody's understanding each other. Everybody's all over the place. You got your point. He got his point. And you're going to stick to what you believe. He's going to stick to what he believes. And y'all ain't on the same page at all. And it's just like everything's just a mess.
We had something like that the other day where
Right.
we didn't agree on something. And
it can happen for so many reasons.
I said, that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I thought you was being petty. I'll be honest. I said,
right.
I'm not gonna say what it was, but I thought
what you meant.
I still think you're being petty on it.
Yeah.
I think you're being petty. I think you're really being petty, but that's just my opinion. But it's not gonna make me affect the way I treat you or the way I love you. because we're two different people. You have your view and you have your emotion, and I think your response is more emotional.
Right.
But that's what you chose to believe. So that's what you want to believe, then that's what you believe. But we communicated it back and forth for a minute.
Yeah.
We communicated it back and forth. I mean, you got a little heated on it. You
yeah,
got
we
a little
did
irritated.
because you had
I
your
didn't
thoughts
get
and I
heated.
had mine.
I see. You thought I was mad. I wasn't mad.
No, I didn't think
was
that.
mad.
No, wait. First
I
of
was
all,
upset with your thought process.
No, first of all, I didn't think you was mad. I
Okay.
think you had your thoughts on what you believed
Mhm.
that you thought was right, whatever, and I had mine, and I stuck with mine, and you stuck with yours, and we were just at a point.
You was wrong.
We was at a standstill. No, that's
You
your.
was wrong.
I
You
don't
was
feel like I
wrong.
was wrong.
Yes, you was.
I don't feel like I was
Yes,
wrong.
you was.
You may have thought that I was wrong because that's how you felt, but that doesn't mean I actually felt that way. I felt like what I've said made plenty of sense.
Not at all.
I did.
Not at all.
I did.
Anyway.
But I think overall we saw things as not black and white, but gray. Okay, we were just like, you know what? We don't see eye to eye right now,
with a splash
and
of
it's
orange.
cool. It's cool. It's okay. You think what you think. I think what I think, and
With
it's gonna be like that
with
sometimes.
a splash of red, actually, not even orange. With a splash of
we're
red.
not gonna always. I just feel in a relationship sometimes you're not gonna always see things, the same way. You just not. And sometimes you are. You're gonna be like, boom, okay, I hear you, I feel you, you feel me, and we going on. But sometimes it's just gonna be like that.
I guess.
And then ain't nothing you can do about it.
Another thing when it comes to communication is we always gotta, as couples, you always gotta communicate. You can't have long periods of time where you don't communicate. Even if it's by phone, FaceTime, smoke screen, whatever. It's gotta be some form of communication.
Yeah.
Going on. Even if I was away for a while, we'll still talk to each other and communicate. Is that's the only way that you can keep your marriage or keep yourself in tune with your spouse, so that you know what the other one is thinking. I think that like you said, I think more than anything is just getting where you get your thought process, or you always understand what the other one is thinking, and there's no misunderstandings.
Yeah. I think for me, being patient, because as I said, because sometimes if we talking and I'm getting impatient because I want to hear, I want you to hurry up and finish talking because I want to say my point. I ain't heard nothing you said. Because I'm like, hurry up. Okay, I hear you, but you're not really listening. You didn't really take it in. You didn't receive anything. You just trying to get ready to say your point. So that's the active listening is totally turned all the way down. Because if I go to say something, then it's gonna I'm gonna respond in a way because I'm already thinking what I want to say. I'm not even. Then I'm like, well, this is how I feel. Then you're gonna be like, well, then you ain't even heard me. You ain't even listen to what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's important to be patient with one another and really sit there and listen and put your feelings aside and sit there and just listen and really take it in. And then when you do respond, you're responding a different way because now you're considering what they said. You see what I'm saying? And then your point or what you may have thought that you was going to say will totally change somewhat because now you're like, oh, that's how you felt with that? I didn't know you felt that way.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see.
And talking openly. I'm talking about, and just saying it for what it is.
Yeah, but then if sometimes when you do that, it comes off as brash and.
I know, but sometimes it ain't gonna always be rosy. Sometimes you're gonna have moments.
But we just said that I learned that I can't always be that brash.
I know. But what I'm saying is, I know it's kind of like talking back and forth. What I'm just saying, I ain't talking about being brash. It's a line
that you have to figure out.
Yeah, so it's a
what
line
each one is comfortable with.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. In the sense of knowing your spouse.
You know when I'm
knowing how far to go.
Right. You know when I'm communicating, and I'm just trying to communicate something that I'm feeling, as opposed to me just being sarcastic and I'm just communicating
there you
something.
Because sometimes you can be sarcastic knowing that you're being smart, knowing that like, okay, whatever, you know what I'm saying, and you saying different things that's going to cause the conversation to go a whole nother way.
And that's why I don't listen. That's why I don't read your text when you send them to me.
Yeah,
because the whole thing will be nothing but sarcasticness, and I'm not trying to hear. I'm just like, it's going to irritate me, and I'm driving, and I don't need to get into accident. So I'm like, yeah, I just won't even pay attention to that.
Yeah,
right now.
and sometimes if when we don't talk and we kind of let it sit for a minute, we give ourselves a chance to. Well, I know for me, I give myself a chance to really think about. Okay, wait a minute, what am I really upset about again? Like what are we arguing about again? And then I sit and think about, okay, what he said really made sense. And maybe you'll go back and say, well, maybe what she said really made sense. And then we can kind of come together. And then we can kind of come together and then, and express and explain what we understood or didn't understand from what the person did say or whatever. You know
Most
what I mean?
times I don't understand what you said. I just be like, what the heck?
You really don't understand what I'm saying sometimes?
I don't understand the words coming out of your mouth.
Oh gosh, that's awful. That means the communication is totally broken then. What we even having this conversation for then?
That's true. Well, I guess that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
But I mean, and then there's so many different, it's when you communicate, there's so many different factors. You got conflict communication, conflict management. You have nonverbal communication, where we talked about a little bit.
Body language.
Don't be looking at me like that. I saw that.
Well, I was just saying body language.
Yeah, don't be looking at me like that.
Because if you talking to somebody and you just sitting,
I don't appreciate that.
Or you standing or sitting or looking a certain way, and you just like, okay,
yeah.
and you know what I'm saying? Then that causes an issue. Like, why you acting like that? You can't even get to the root.
So then,
okay,
so wait.
So
then wait. So then that's the thing. We just said we can't talk to each other. We can talk to each other in person, but you have a problem with my facial expressions,
and you have a problem with mine.
No, I don't have a problem with yours. You have a smart mouth.
I do.
You have a very sarcastic mouth. You say smart things, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna let that go because I know you're being emotional right now, so I'm just gonna let that go.
Yeah,
that's your problem. I make facial expressions. Like, really? Like, what? Like, I do this. I admit that. But your issue is definitely sarcasm. And it can be,
I can admit to that.
And
I can take responsibility for my actions.
You can, whatever. Anyway, anybody that knows you knows you're sarcastic. But anyway.
Yeah.
But
I try to do better. I really try to do better.
So that's what I'm saying. We have to work towards that. We can have conversations in person. We do. It's not, I want people to think we don't have any conversation in person. We do have conversations in person. But yeah, you do have a tendency sometimes when I make, because then you shut down, because then you're like, I'm forget it, whatever. Forget it. That's how I know. Because sometimes I may make the facial expression, don't even know I realize I did it. I don't even know, because then you're like, you know what? Forget it. I'm not gonna, never mind. It's not important. I'm like, what do you mean it's not important? You started off by saying, I need to talk to you. And then it's like, you'd be like, I need to talk to you. And you'd be like, why you got a sign for?
But I'm just saying, men don't like women say, when women say, oh, we got to talk to you. Oh, Lord, what happened? You know what I'm saying? Then in your mind, you already disconnected.
Well, number one, part of the problem is
you already disconnected, because you're like, oh.
Part of the problem,
you don't even have to do it. You ain't got to breathe hard like that.
Well, because you take forever sometimes. You'll be like, oh, we need to talk. And then
what about patience? Like, I just said we have to have patience. You have to listen to the person.
Job had patience. I'm not Job, okay?
You can be like him. You can be like him.
I be like him, and I love the Lord, but I'm not gonna be him like with patience, because I'm like, you gotta get to the point. You'll go and then take you 5 minutes to get to the point. I'm like, just get to the point.
Well, because first of all, we get, like, for me, I'm telling you how I feel. Then I'm gonna go into how I actually really feel.
Exactly. That's you just said it exactly. And I already know how you feel. That's why I'm like, because you know what? We've been married long enough to know each other. We're still learning each other. We're still gonna learn it. There's still stuff that we're gonna learn. But I know when you come with something, I'm like, okay. And I already know what you're going, like, I already kind of know what you're gonna say. I just let you say it, and I try to respond to it.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Because sometimes you will surprise me and not actually say what I thought you was gonna say.
See, women ain't the only ones that already know or think what they partner already may be thinking. So that's not always true. So sometimes the men be thinking that too. Or she just gonna nag, or she just gonna, what's she thinking about now?
See, that's the thing. If you notice, I don't know if you notice, but I don't even say that to you anymore. I don't say that you're nagging or whining. I don't say that to you anymore. I mean, I haven't even noticed that. I don't say to you anymore that, because I figured that kind of communication is what would be like a trigger for you to get emotional. So I really don't say that to you anymore. I'll say, like, come on, you're being emotional. I'll go right to it. You're being emotional.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I'm
you're not
trying
being,
to learn.
I'll say you're not thinking logically.
I'm trying to be more aware, not to be so emotional when I'm
No,
trying to have a
that's how you
conversation.
are, Tom. But
I know, but I'm just
that's who
saying
you are. That's
I'm trying to turn that off some because
no, but see, that's the thing. I don't want you to turn it off because sometimes, you know what? I'll be honest with you. Sometimes your emotion will get us to have a thought that we may not have thought about.
okay.
Because it'll be like a off the wall kind of thing. Because I can handle it. I
Mm-hmm.
really believe I can handle it. Because like I said, I don't say, "Oh, you're whining" or "You're complaining."
Mm-hmm.
I say, "Hey, you're being emotional,"
Mm-hmm.
or "Hey, you're not thinking logically."
Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you really think that's possible? Do
Yeah.
you really think that's even a feasible
Mm-hmm.
sentence that you just said?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say things like that
Right.
because then it makes you stop and think, well, can I really, does that really make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense because I'm thinking it makes sense. So it makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's gonna, but still, it's just saying it in a way that you're taking out the trigger words.
Right.
Because before in the past, I definitely be like, oh, why you always whining? Why you complaining? You just complain about everything. You're just not happy. I don't say that to you either. I don't say to you not happy. I've been really trying to not use words that could in a negative
That would break down the
tone.
communication.
Well, not even break down, just in a negative tone. I tried to be more positive in the way, like I said to you, like especially this past year. I don't know why, but like even when we're having a discussion, I'm actually thinking in my head, why are we having a discussion? How can I communicate so she understands me? How can I express this so she understands me? And if you get too emotional, then I just shut down and I say, okay, you know what? We're not talking right now. I'm not talking. I need a minute. And I walk away or I hang up the phone. You don't like it, but I don't really care.
But
Because
it gives us
a time. It gives us a time to think about it, both of us, and then we can come back and say, okay, and then we can get to the root of the problem.
Because when communication is broken, one person thinking one thing and the other person, like this morning, I was like, well, Pedro, are you taking little Pedro to school or something like that? You was like, oh, I don't have to be to work to whatever time it was, 1:00. I said, well, you didn't say anything. I'm in there
I
trying
did
to
say something to
I'm
you.
in there trying to wake our son up early because I'm up at 6:30. So I'm down the stairs doing my, I used to back, we got one toilet, so everybody got to take turns. So I used the toilet, did my thing, and
We don't need to
then
know that you use the toilet. Thank you, though.
whatever. And this is a transparent podcast. So I went into his room. I'm like, son, it's time to get up. Let's go. Let's go. And he like, Mom, my class gonna start at 10:00. I was like, well, your daddy still got the thing. He still got to take you. And Sky come downstairs and says, Mom, Daddy don't have to take Peter till later. So, that's why don't worry about waking him up. She always act like she the mother.
So wait,
And I was like, wait a minute, your daddy didn't say anything to me about that.
Wait.
Did your daddy say that to you?
I'm about to blow you up
And
right
no,
now.
not so.
I'm
Did
about
your
to blow
daddy
you.
say that to you? And you called, and I called you. You was like, "Oh, babe, I'm sorry, I forgot to communicate that to you."
No. I did communicate. No, I'm about to blow you up. How is it that our daughter knows, but you don't?
That's what I said.
We was all in the same room when I said it. You wasn't listening. You're either half asleep because 8:30 you was already kind of drowsy. You was half asleep or you was not thinking. But
you can't say I
we was
heard you.
in the room. You heard me.
This is the thing, Peter. You know
We
my
was
routine.
in a room, and I said it to everybody
Pedro,
in the room.
You know my routine. You know when you was talking, I was asleep. I was
no. You was
in
not
dead
asleep. I
land.
said no. You was not dead land. You was still kind of thing, and I said
no,
it to
I didn't hear it
because I said exactly. So
I didn't hear it.
did communicate. You just did not hear it.
Okay, well I didn't hear it, and
but I
said,
still apologized and said, "Well, I apologize if you didn't hear me." But I did say that because I said to Pedro, when you wake up, if you feel like going early, then I'll take you. If not, then I'll, And then I communicated. I took him to the bus anyway because I had to go to A&E. So
yeah.
Because I face planted yesterday on my face.
Pedro failed. I'm so sorry, honey.
That was the first one out your mouth. You are so clumsy. That's not what I want to hear right now. That's not communicating.
I was trying to encourage you.
Encourage me how?
I was
I'm clumsy?
like, babe, dang, what did you do? How did you fall?
You know what?
I said, what? I said, he said he fell off a step. I said, what was it, a hill?
No, it was
you
not a
almost
step.
broke your hand.
No, it was not a step. It was a step, but it wasn't a step. Here in the UK, they have a tendency of the side doors. They put I don't know why they do this, but it could be like a space between the door and the floor.
Okay, yeah.
So, but in the process, they put this little ledge on the bottom of the door. So it's literally
So you
like
got
when you
kind of
step.
like our door upstairs. You got like a little step, a
Yeah,
little
you got
small step.
that little
Yeah.
white, plastic
Yeah.
step. So that's what they had. So as I turned to walk out, I turned back to say goodbye. And as I turned to say goodbye, my foot hit that little step, and my foot just slipped right off of it, and I just started falling. I just went right out the door like a rocket ship, you know. And the funny thing was they had a car up on a jack.
Yeah.
So the jack was big. It was one of those industrial jack, and the jack was thing. So I almost hit that. So I had to navigate from that, because if I didn't, I would have hit that. Because it was like
That definitely would have been like a freak accident
then
for
there was a
you.
dude
Oh my
outside.
gosh.
He went like this, like he was gonna thing, but he was like, "Dude, you too heavy, you too big." I wasn't trying. I say, "I'm glad you did it," because I would have knocked into. I would have implanted him into the wall, because that's
Oh
how hard
my
I went out.
gosh.
So if he had tried to stop me, he was a little skinny guy. I would have definitely knocked him into the next yard. He would have been through the wall. He would have been through the door or
Through the
whatever.
door,
Yeah, no,
whatever.
I'm dead serious, because that's how hard I went, and messed up, and ended up breaking my 5th metatarsal bone.
Oh, honey. But anyway, I communicated by just trying to encourage you, like it's gonna be okay.
That's not communication. That's being sarcastic.
Probably so.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
But the thing about communication, and another thing, because we're going to get back into that,
yeah,
was that we learned when you communicate with people, with each other, communicate encouragement and support. Did you ever listen to that video that I put up on Heal My Marriage podcast, Facebook? No, you didn't. So you say you was gonna listen to it,
but I didn't,
because
sorry.
the woman asked the guy, what he needed, and he told her all the things he needed. And I said that you do that for me now. You encourage me all the time, and it goes for both ways, me too. But you encourage me, you support me. You say, I'm a good father. You say I'm a good provider. You say you always are encouraging me and communicating that to me, because it's not just communication is not just communicating back and forth about our ideas or arguments. It's also about communicating good thoughts to uplift and bring up the next person. You can do this. You can do this. You got this. You're all right. You're gonna be okay. When you're down and out. Being, and especially like now, since it's been a rough month since the passing of my brother, and it's been just, I have good days and bad days, but you're like, hey, babe, you all right? You can be all right. It's gonna be okay. Just encouraging. That's communicating too. We got to bring that up. I think now that we're older into our marriage, we definitely do communicate better that way, where we can recognize when other person's not feeling right. Even like if I just sit down and like, you don't look right. You okay? Like you can kind of communicate that by just my body language. Like, okay, he's not feeling, like you could tell when maybe I am thinking about Justin, with me not even saying nothing, because you could just see my body language. You could see, like the other day when I came in, I was just having a rough day, and the kids were making noise, and I wanted to tell them to stop, but I said, you know what? They're just being kids. So I let them keep making the noise, even though I wanted peace and quiet. And in the past, I probably been like, shut up, be quiet, sit down, don't make a sound, like to be a dictator. But I was like, I'm just gonna just take a couple of deep breaths. I eat my food, and I just let it, just let it pass. Because it was like, well, it was only 15 minutes to 9, so it was like 8:45. I was like, so next 5, I said I could deal with it for 15 minutes, because we're gonna be having worship, then they go to bed.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not gonna send them to bed with me yelling at them, and I communicated that with you afterwards, saying, this how, and to let you know that's how I felt, because you didn't know how I felt, but just wanted to let you, that's how I felt. That's how I was feeling. So then just communicating in that, but just always being there with you, being there for, like I try to communicate to you good thoughts. You got this. You're gonna be all right. Don't let that get you down when you're dealing with family members and stuff. Communication is key.
Yeah.
And supporting your spouse when it comes to work.
I just have to,
family,
I always try to communicate to you how much I appreciate you, as a husband, as a father, as a provider, as someone that take care of his family. I absolutely love that you do
Well, see,
that.
that's the thing. You always say that, right? But I always say we as a couple take care of our family together.
Yeah, but
Because we all have our part. I
yes,
just do my part. You have your part.
yeah, but I'm
You
just saying,
just
you tell me how you feel about how what I
That's what I'm
do.
saying. I'm about to say it now. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, because I hate, honestly, I don't know, as a male, I know people, males like to get that, like I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But that's my job. When I married you and decided we was gonna have kids, that was my duty as a husband, was we communicated that. You said, I want to have children. So when you said I want to have children, I said, you know what? Then she wants to have children. Then this what I need. This XYZ, boom, boom. And I had a lot of demons and generation curses that I had to break to get to this point, because, I was, I wanted to be there for my kids. I've been in a failed marriage. I won't even say failed marriage. I've been in a marriage that did not work, and for whatever reason, and I wanted to break that, because that's what I went through in my life as a teenager. I didn't have a father until 14, so I had I grew up without a father. Well, actually, no, he was around until about 4 or 5, and then maybe 10 years I didn't have a father. 10, 11 years, but it just seemed like it was long, but it was not as long as I thought. But anyway,
Right.
but I want to break that curse. So I don't like. I like when not that I don't want you to say that, but I just mean to you. I just want to just I always try to put it, because we're a group, we're one. So I don't like to just say me. I like to say us.
Yeah.
Because we do it together as a couple. We raise our family. We work on our marriage. We do the things that make our marriage work. It's not just I'm just doing my part that I need to do.
Right.
You do your part, I do my part. If we both do our parts, then our marriage is going to be tight.
And you know what I think is important too is respecting the person part, the role that they play in a marriage. You know what I mean? Whether a woman working at home and going off to work, or a woman just an at home mom or a father, whatever you may be doing, because you got at home fathers too. So what I'm saying is knowing and communicating to them that what you're doing is worth it. You know what I'm saying? Your time and your energy and all of these things that we're doing is helping our family. And I think when we recognize and respect each other roles in each other, in the marriage, then, what I'm saying, a person can feel appreciated and not disrespected.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like your job is more than the next one. You know what I'm saying? What I'm doing is more. Are you doing like, especially sometimes? And I don't know if other at home moms or fathers that's home with their children feel like, oh, you just at home, I'm out all day and you just at home doing nothing. They feel like you're doing nothing, but when they come home, your house is clean, your clothes is washed, your food is cooked, and all of these things is done. How did you think
kids
that?
are not dead?
Yeah, the kids are saying after. How do you think all of this stuff happened? It don't happen just by chance. You see what I'm saying? It's
It's a fairy that comes. It's a fairy that comes in and sprinkles fairy dust
and sprinkle it, right? So I'm just saying we all have our roles to play, and it's all important in how a family function and how we communicate that to each other, so we all know that, oh, what am I doing, what I'm putting in is worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's not just something. And yes, you may have a moment where you just sit and you may want to watch a little show after you finish doing what you got to do around the house. Do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's tiresome.
I tell you all the time, believe it or not, because I tell people all the time, my wife is a housewife, but you know what? She works harder than me, because all I do is drive around all day and go people's homes
And
do a chore and do a task, and then the task takes me anywhere between 15 to an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes sometimes, depending on the task.
Right.
And then I get back in my car and I drive to the next spot, and I'm got time on my hands. I tell my wife all the time, why don't you just sit and watch TV? Like I tell her, like, why don't you just take a break? Like, take a break from the house, and just the house is gonna be there. Just take a break. I tell you, I've done that. Told you.
I just love that what I do. I can be flexible. I can do my bodybuilder business. I can do my singing. I can do whatever I want to do in between. But don't ever feel like what you're doing is lesser than the other person. I think everybody's role is a big role.
Oh, definitely. It's
That's
all equal. I mean, it's just like a business. A business can't run without the
employees.
The employees. Exactly. And then the employees can't work together, from the custodian to the CEO. You all have a part to play. So that's the way I handle our marriage, is that we all have a part to play. One thing about we was talking about, as you communicate is adapting over time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I kind of mentioned that. I just wanted to bring it up again because it's
Right.
definitely a point. But that is just adapting over time, adapting, to as the world we live in, everything adapts, everything becomes different, everything changes. So adapting to new things and not be afraid to do new things. I think sometimes we get stuck in the old ways of, well, we did this in the past.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to continue to do that. But the past doesn't always work
No.
in today's new world and the way the world is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to understand to adapt,
And make
constantly
changes.
adopt
Mm-hmm.
in our marriage with the communication
Mm-hmm.
and try different things to communicate, try
Mm-hmm.
different ways and means of understanding each other
Mm-hmm.
and not be just stuck in this. Because now what we did 5 years ago does not work
Mm-hmm.
to what we communicate now.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Definitely.
definitely not the same. We definitely communicate differently.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to adapt to each other and adapt to our marriage
Mm-hmm.
to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to bring up that point because, I think a lot of times we definitely, want to just stick to the same thing
Mm-hmm.
or be like, or even the best one is for those newly married couples
Mm-hmm.
is copying off of people.
Mm.
And I tell people that newly married, I say, you know what, you're gonna have to find your own way of communication that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we say, we're not professionals here. We're just talking about us
Mm-hmm.
and just hoping that somebody listens. But like for us, the stuff we do may not work for you, and it may work. I don't know. It's just everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about adapting and surviving and just learning to do things.
And respecting each other's
And
feelings, period.
yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
keep saying that. I know.
I said that again.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's fine. No.
No,
Because
I just
that's a
think
major.
I think
But
'cause
it's not just respecting each other's feelings. It's about just respecting just empathy, just being understanding the other person, just
Mm-hmm.
trying to understand. Because the thing is, sometimes I don't always respect you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always respect me.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't let that get me down. I don't let that get me upset.
Yeah.
I'll let you know, hey, I didn't like that. I
Yeah.
thought that was disrespectful.
Yeah, because we all get out of character
We
sometimes.
get out of character sometimes. So I don't,
That's true.
yeah, you can respect each other all day long, but if you don't understand or have that compassion to understand somebody's why you acting the way you acting,
Mm-hmm.
the respect ain't gonna help nothing. Because I can respect you all day, but if I don't understand why you're acting that way, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's true.
So
That's absolutely true. So now, guys, we're getting ready for our cards that we always do. So we're getting ready to
it was not loud at all.
Yes, it's loud. Our intimate cards.
Oh, you heard it, but I didn't.
Yeah. Let me just put that on so you can. Yeah, so you probably didn't hear it.
Let me see it. There we go. I heard it now. There you go.
So yeah, he had to do it 3 times.
No, because I can hear. I can't hear it.
Third time is the charm. So we're gonna.
That's with our marriage.
Yeah.
With my marriage, at least.
So Peter gonna pick his card, and I'm gonna pick my card, and we're gonna discuss it. Right?
I don't know what the thing is at, so I don't know what each card does.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? Remember?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't know
at the moment, but I know basically these cards they have it on there where you can they give you a question and you have to answer the question, and then they have different ones that you can pick from. They have life,
okay, I just
romance,
picked this color
and stuff like that.
And go from there.
So, what the top part of the card says there?
What?
I mean, okay, I can't remember what each one.
All right, pick a
Okay,
card.
so I'm gonna pick a card. So I'm gonna just take this one right here. I kind of want to change my card. Sorry.
That's not what you're supposed to do.
But I'm sorry.
I like this card. Go ahead.
Okay, so my card says, do you consider yourself conservative, moderate, or liberal with your political leanings? Explain.
What?
It says, do you consider yourself conservative, moderate, or liberal with your political leanings?
You're not political.
Explain. I'm not a political person at all. I do listen to some of the stuff on the news, what's going on with the presidency in the United States. Do I know what's
And the
going?
Prime Minister here?
Yeah, right. So I don't
Not
know.
really.
I don't know what's going on here in the UK. I must admit, I'm gonna have to look up some stuff and see what's up with the maybe on CNN or YouTube or something, and just type in.
BBC, babe, BBC.
Oh, right, BBC.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I can't even tell you that. I do need to educate myself more on what's going on in the UK. I know we had some immigrants come in from the war and stuff like that that was going on, and they was housing people and stuff like that, and how it made a change for a lot of the citizens and people that are here in the UK, and how that changed things for certain situations that have happened. I know about that. But other than I know about the what you call that, the Parliament House in London, and would they be discussing different things and different stuff that they want to change and stuff with the people in the UK. So I know somewhat about it, but I do need to. I try not to, because when I'm listening to it, it sounds like everybody's just rambling. So unless something just stick out to me, that I'd be like, oh, okay, you know. But other than that, that's all. That's all I know about that.
So I actually picked 2 cards, which I didn't realize, but the first card is what I wanted.
Okay.
But
Well, which one are you gonna go with?
you could do this.
TikTok.
You want to do that one too?
Okay. So Pedro had a card. I guess you picked this out for me. So it says, "What was your biggest cultural shock?" What was your biggest culture shock? I think for me, my first culture shock was when I moved to Bermuda. That was different because I never lived in another country other than America,
And that took a lot of
and I lived
communication.
in an island. And it was small, and I was like, "What is this?" So just getting used to the to people. And the one thing about Bermudians, I must admit, they very friendly people. I find that they was friendly when I first. That was my first impression of Bermudians, and that how nice they was and willing to help you because they knew you wasn't from Bermuda. And I would say that kind of helped me along the way, knowing that it was people that was genuinely, wanted to
That's not how
help.
you felt at first.
At
Be
first, I
honest.
felt like, why are you so nice?
And what do they
What do
want?
they want? Because not
Because
that
we had
people.
somebody that want
Wait a
Renee.
minute, not that people in America wasn't nice. It's just that it's a different type of way of receiving it in America. But as so skip that. So as I came over here to the UK, it was another culture shock. So being in another country in Europe, so that was different. The people
We're not in
here,
Europe. We're in the UK.
okay, so the people I would say is okay.
They're better than
I'm
okay.
I'm connecting with some people, and some people I'm not. It just depends. You know what I'm saying? Who they are and how. I don't know. It just depends. But it's been, like I say, in my opinion, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I'm gonna leave it.
Then my question is actually for you, but I'm gonna say for you and me. But
No,
it
just say it for
says,
you. I already did me twice.
okay, because the question is, when did you realize you was in love with me? So I'll
Oh, I
say
guess I
I
can answer
wonder,
that too.
but I was gonna say I realized when I was in love with you.
Oh, you remember when?
Mm-hmm.
When?
The day I met you.
Oh my gosh.
I told you from the jump. I
Yeah.
know,
Pedro told me he loved me
I know
first.
people may think I'm crazy, but the day I met you, I was in love with you.
Pedro told me he loved me first, and I was like,
It was
what you
literally
talking
love
about?
for me, it was love at first sight. When I met you, I knew I was gonna be with you.
Uh,
And about 2 weeks in, I knew I was gonna marry you.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. I knew from the jump. I just knew. I don't know, it was just the way we met and everything. I just knew that I was in love with you from the day I met you. And I knew that I was gonna be with you.
The day you lay eyes on me.
The day I laid my eyes on you.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was love at first sight.
Oh goodness. I think when I really start having feelings for you was maybe a week after you told me. I was like, wow, he got feelings for me, like this serious. Because you may hear a guy say, oh, I love you, I like you, or whatever, but they don't really show it. But when Pedro actually showed it to me through his action, I was like, wow, like, did he really care about me? And I think at that time I started to grow. It started to grow in me. It started to grow, and it was a feeling that
I think you know
it's
what
a
it
feeling
was.
that it's
You
a feeling that
realized
you
that.
can't turn off, because it's like, wow, I got feelings for this guy. I really love him.
I think you start when you saw that I was doing things with winning nothing in return.
That's what it was.
there was no expectations on my part for you to reciprocate back to me what I was doing for you.
Right.
Everything. And I think that's why even when I was mad at you, I could still do things for you. Because like I said, when I got with you, you were my responsibility.
Right.
I take that seriously. So no matter what, even if I'm mad at you and you need a ride down the street, I'm gonna give you a ride down the street.
Give me a ride down the street.
I'm not gonna leave you stranded and say, you know what, find your own way.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably said that to you a couple of times. I was real pissed, but I still end up taking you anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I kind of like won you over because you was definitely fighting me on it. You was definitely confused for the first couple of maybe 3-4 weeks. You was kind of confused.
Yeah.
You didn't know how to handle me.
No. Because you know what it is when you find someone, or when someone just happens to come into your life, it's like, wow, like, and through the good and the bad, it's like, man, they love me still. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big deal in marriage and going into marriage or relationship, is knowing that even though you don't see things eye to eye, that love that you have for them, or you remember the love you have for them, that keep you going.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important.
Well, that's pretty much put an end to our
That's
show.
it for the show today.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
we all
you,
want to thank
guys.
Renters Radio London.
That's right.
YouTube. Please like and subscribe.
On
Please,
Spotify, on Apple Podcasts,
yep.
all them streaming platforms.
And if you have any comments, please, hit us up. You can find us on Hear My Marriage on any platform.
And we have a Facebook group on Facebook,
Instagram,
and
Facebook.
Instagram.
Yep.
So go like and follow and share over there. Like you said, we really want to try to be more active with this, and I just pray that we're able to do that.
Yes.
So blessings to you guys.
So as they always say, my name is Pedro.
And my name is Tara.
And this is Heal
My Marriage Podcast. Blessings.
Blessings.